Trick racing machinery with a connection to history and the world center of racing bring together an unprecedented variety of two-cylinder powered two-wheeled machines to form something completely new. Read the signs, feel the excitement, and come inside. Daytona International Speedway hosts the inaugural SunTrust Moto ST Series 8 Hours of Daytona, presented by Road Racer X. Teams from far and wide have gathered to go racing in an innovative and exciting new series that promises to deliver close competition in 3 different classes of twin-cylinder racing machines with limited modifications and all on spec Pirelli tires. Numbers on the fastest bikes will carry a blue background, with the Grand Sport and Sport Twin bikes noted by yellow and green markings. It's all something of an unknown, but with a solid basis in theory.
In the United States, we have 10,000 club racers, and of that, the contingent, about 20% of them race some endurance series. Secondly, twins are the second. They have over 50% of the market, and so there's a lot of bikes, and they're not so dominated by the Japanese. So I think we're going to find a different rider-sponsored dealer network base, and I think they'll find it's interesting. We're applying a lot of the technique that we've learned in Grand American, the car racing series they have, which should make for better parity.
One team with more than a slight connection to the four-wheeled model for this race carries the number 59, as does the Porsche campaigned by Brumos Racing in the Grand Am series. They're banking on their experience, including racing at night, to carry them to the fabled victory lane here at Daytona.
Brumos has been involved in virtually every form of motorsport. And when we had the opportunity to come here and be involved with this inaugural motorcycle event, how can you say no? I mean, this is a really growing thing. This is where it's going to be.
Well, we're here once again at Daytona International Speedway. 8-hour endurance race, kind of new here. We used to do the 3-hour endurance races years ago, so 8 hours is going to be, I guess it's going to be about 4 Daytona 200s. But we do get the privilege of riding with a couple other riders, my teammate Jeff May and Chris Ulrich. So it's going to be exciting. It's going to be, you know, a game of attrition, and hopefully we win that game.
Barnes and his team have an enormous reputation in two-wheeled endurance racing and are among the favorites as we look at the Pirelli starting grid, along with an extremely well-prepared BMW number 46. Every one of the teams has several things in common: as much racing experience as is available, and little real idea how much that will count against luck. Over 8 hours at Daytona, uncharted territory for everyone. Teams are allowed up to 3 riders, and rosters had to be set well in advance of the start. No last-minute ringers could be added or raided from other teams. 34 bikes made up a grid for the race, with the faster bikes up front. Many car rules have been adapted, including a rolling start and cautions controlled by a pace car. Now let's take a look at the Pirelli track map. The traditional or Grand Am layout will be used, both ends of the speedway, plus the infield no longer used by motorcycles for the Daytona 200 and other AMA Superbike classes. The 31-degree banking and the not-so-subtle character of this track is completely new to many of the competitors and a little nostalgic to some. Something else new is the start behind the pace car. The old pros racing number 37 on the pole as they get set to go racing here at Daytona. 8 hours is underway. Number 37 being challenged immediately by the number 46 BMW of Brian Perriott up from the second row. As they head down into the infield for the first time, the heartbreaking and very daunting turn number 1 here at Daytona, one of the most famous anywhere in the world. And with that move, Brian Perriott successfully challenging for the lead, taking over the position as they go into the International Horseshoe. The number 46 San Jose BMW out front here on lap number 1. Making a strong move up from the 5th row is Matt Lynn on the number 33 Suzuki SB1000, another one of the favorite and faster bikes on the track. He comes screaming around the outside there, up into 2nd position behind the BMW. So the number 33 Suzuki behind the BMW. Barnes on the M4 MGO machine there in 4th position, having a look around to see who he has for company. up onto the banking on the west side of the racetrack here, which will be something that hasn't been used at Daytona over the last couple of seasons as the AMA Superbike regulars visit the track. A big cluster of riders around Mike Barnes. They're going past Lynn. Lynn's having some kind of problem fading back when he should be accelerating on the banking on that SV1000. So as he tries to drop down into the draft there and hold position, something is clearly wrong with that bike that had moved so quickly up into second from the 5th row. Perriott continues to lead the race on the front. Mike Barnes on the M4 MGO Suzuki up into 3rd spot behind Estock on the Aprilia Tuono. These two bikes are very fast on the banking and have a top speed advantage over the BMW. Estock leads Barnes past. Both go by the BMW. Barnes and Estock heading once again to complete lap number 1 here at Daytona in the inaugural Moto ST 8 Hours of Daytona. The BMW San Jose entry dropping back into 3rd position. Barnes and Estock going side by side. Estock on the low line, Barnes up high. First lap of the race, 8 hours to go. And Mike Barnes takes the lead going into turn 1 for the 2nd time, putting the M4 MGO Suzuki SV1000 in front of the Aprilia Tuono of Dave Estock and the BMW of Brian Perriott. Estock riding the only Aprilia in the field, an unusual choice. Here's the story.
I'm riding an Aprilia in the 8-hour endurance, the new Moto ST class. I'm doing it with Mike Luke and Brett Ray from R&R Racing. We're sponsored by JC Racing, and why? Because it's new and fun, and it's Daytona. It's my home track. I'm going to ride anything I can here. I've been coming here for 12 years now, so I definitely think I got a little advantage when it comes to track knowledge. But Mike Luke and Brett have both rode here quite a bit too, and I think they'll be getting up to speed throughout the race also. You know, I was surprised when I heard that nobody else was, you know, using this bike, which made me think that maybe it isn't the, you know, bike of choice, but it seems like it since we're here, and it's definitely got great power on the banking. There's not too many bikes I can't pass on the straightaways. So for the limited time we've had and the, you know, little bit of stuff that we've done to suspension changes, it handles great. I mean, right off the bat, I was surprised at how good the bike handled without tweaking on anything, and we're getting it closer and closer. I mean, I think, you know, we need a little bit more time on it to get everything set, but I think we've got a pretty good setup for today's race. So everybody's curious on what to do for tires and, you know, which compounds to run and how long you're going to run on them and all that. I think it's just going to be, you know, a big guessing game and up to the rider to feel what the bike's doing and good, you know, communication with the pits when you come in to know, you know, when we're going to swap tires. I mean, we've got a plan already, but whether that's going to, you know, hold out, we'll find out in the race.
This speed presentation is brought to you by BMW Motorcycles. The ride is on.
Moto ST is brought to you by Road Racer X, the most comprehensive road racing publication on the planet. Road Racer X, get your subscription today. Pit stops come early and often with a 4-gallon fuel load maximum. Dustin Dominguez brings in the lucky number 13 Hyosung, handing over to former AMA Superbike Rookie of the Year, Corey West.
Yeah, it's kind of clueless. We're just going into it blind, but we'll see how it goes. I think it'll be all right if the thing stays together. I got 2 local boys with me. Corey Burleson, he's from Harrison, Arkansas, which is actually about 20 minutes from my house. And then another young rider, Dustin Dominguez, he's been racing in the CMRA on SV650s, so I figured these guys would be the perfect guys to help me out. I think it'll be all right. It's nothing special, but I think we'll do all right if we can just circulate and do well in the race, so just see how it goes. Yeah, I was looking for the turbo, or the 8th gear, or whatever you call it. The thing's a bit slow, but we'll see how it goes.
Dude, I think it's going to go over well. We got to ride it a little bit in practice yesterday. It ran good. It feels good. I believe it's going to make the distance. I believe it'll go a whole 8 hours. To get to come ride with Corey West and have a good time. I mean, we just learned about this just a couple days ago, so it's kind of a spur of the moment back up and come down because I'm just an alternate, and it's great to be down here at such a big event, especially the first one. You know, you get to be the start of it.
Crew Chief Chuck Giacchetto with his self-described Italian quick fill, taking a while to refuel the bike without even the relatively simple dump can technology allowed by the rules. Meanwhile, things staying racy up front between JC Racing's Aprilia and the M4 MGO Suzuki SV1000 of Mike Barnes. The problem for the number 33, Valley Racing, has cost them over 4 laps. One of the top teams already with a deficit. A rear wheel change and some repairs were needed to get back in the race. Matt Lynn takes the bike onto the track in last place. They'll have to fight back using the speed of their bike to try to unwind laps and hope to improve on pit stops. Meanwhile, the speed of Dave Estock's Aprilia evident. He's able to pull out of the draft to pass Barnes, and then Mike Barnes fighting back in the infield sections. A classic duel between two bikes with different strengths. Barnes' small size allowing him to tuck into that draft and stay close enough to then challenge in the infield. And while it is a race, it is more of a contest of attrition and who is able to be the most consistent and smooth. Barnes once again makes a move in the infield. The slightly more nimble SV1000 versus the very, very fast Aprilia Tuono. Estock showing the drive off the corners, retakes that spot. And their battle continues for the lead. Third and fourth position on the track, the San Jose BMW number 46 and the Brumos Ducati number 59, piloted by Kenny Noyes and Danny Ribalta. A terrific mix of machines and of international stars, with club racers, with AMA pros, with veterans and newcomers. It is really, really a magical first-time event that, while they say this is the worst event the Moto ST will ever promote, meaning they'll improve and get better in the future, it's difficult to imagine a more exciting first time. And it'll only happen once. An intra-squad scrimmage for the third in the ST class between the number 16 of Mark Crozier and the similar number 69 Suzuki SV650 of CJ Zaya. They get swept by the leaders. Estock still faster on the straightaways, but unable to shake Barnes Suzuki. Then it's the two SV650s, the two hurtbyaccident.com team bikes. And the lead bike in Sport Twins is the number 17 Blue Ridge Performance Kawasaki KX650. Another team with Wera Endurance Racing credentials, trying out the 8 Hours of Daytona. The Canadian Ducati Multistrada, number 19, piloted by Matt McBride here, hangs on to the lead in the Grand Sport Twins category, holding off the James Gang Buell XB12. And a pit stop for the leading number 18.